The importance of a coordinated nationwide headcount cannot be overemphasized. First, it helps policymakers and implementers to have a good grasp of relevant statistics to work with, and has progressively become the reality of a politically sensitive, socially, culturally diverse, and economically attractive country like Nigeria. And it begins to give everyone a sense of what's in the big pot and how much of it accrues to each stakeholder. Well, joining us now to have a discussion about how a national census can come to the rescue as Nigeria approaches the 2023 election is Dr. Abdulmalik Mohammed Durunguwa, a federal commissioner with the National Population Commission and chairman, Public Affairs Committee of the Commission. Welcome to the program, Dr. Durunguwa. Good to have you on the morning show.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
Yes, well, I mean, I find it interesting that you are the chairman of the Public Affairs Committee. We'd like you to give us an update, particularly with the delineation of enumeration areas. Last year, President Buhari approved about 10 billion naira for the delineation of enumeration areas as part of the process of ensuring a proper census count for Nigeria. Where are we with that particular delineation of enumeration areas, and what is the prospect in terms of Nigeria having, a proper population census, having exceeded the 10-year, deadline?
Yes, thank you for giving us this opportunity to express to the whole world, and especially Nigeria and our Nigerians, to understand the preparation and what the National Population Commission is doing right now to make sure that we have a census, at least in the near time, that will stand the test of time. Like you have rightly mentioned, Mr. President Muhammad Buhari actually gave us a matching ground, or a kind of intervention fund, to make sure that we, quickly demarcate the entire country into enumeration areas. That is what we call the EAD. An EAD is a very small enumeration area that is going to be demarcated, which will give the National Population Commission the opportunity during the national head count to be able to at least send a pair of enumerators to cover that area within the shortest possible time. And the enumeration of area demarcation that the National Population Commission is carrying out right now is the basis for which the census stands. Without a proper enumeration of area demarcation exercise, it will be very difficult for the Commission, to demarcate this country, or to, enumerate this country when the head count comes. Before the intervention fund, the Commission was able, to demarcate about 261 local government areas. In Nigeria, we have 774 local government areas that make up the entire Nigeria, with about the number of states we have. So when Mr. President gave us the intervention fund, we started, a massive demarcation of this country nationwide in every state of the Federation. And I will authoritatively tell you that the National Population Commission, based on the in-house, training and a lot of development that is going on in the Commission, and a lot of, strategies and planning that is going on in the Commission. The Commission right now have come up with a kind of a paperless demarcation exercise, which has nothing to do with, a paper. It's a computer-based or an ICT-based, program that we are using, handheld devices, PDAs, with high, imagery, resolutions, which are highly, configured, using an internally developed software by the Commission, which definitely will stand the test of time. And with this, we were able to demarcate, as of now, about 629 local government areas in the country. So with the intervention, we have demarcated our 368 plus the 261 that we have already, which that is what gave us now the total of 269 local government areas. From the 25th of this month, this April, we are also going out for the phase 14 of the demarcation exercise, which is going to at least, we would be able to cover at least 84 local government areas nationwide. So far, by God's grace, with the program of the commission want to make sure that before July or before the ending of July, we are able to demarcate the entire country into smaller enumeration areas that we can be able to conveniently, cover during the census. With that, Nigeria is going to move at least a step forward in making sure that we have the data that is required, to be used in this country. We are hoping that by the time we finish the enumeration of area demarcation, which is the basis and which is the foundation of the census itself, we would be able to say, yes, it's good to go. That by the first quarter of 2022, honestly speaking, the National Population Commission, based on the technical and the personnel that are on ground, we can be able to conveniently conduct census in this country, provided that Mr. President Muhammad Buhari has given us the marching orders, that is, make a proclamation that this census should be conducted. All the country needs is to deploy resources, to be able to carry out this particular exercise. So that is where we are now. God willing, by what we're doing right now, I am telling Nigerians that the National Population Commission is ready to reposition Nigeria into the glory or into the path that the data that is going to be collected is going to be highly reliable and, of course, that can never be disputed, based on the ICT equipment that the commission is using. The software we are using right now is a software that is internally developed, that is developed in Nigeria, that some countries are even looking for it, more especially Sierra Leone, thinking of coming to see how they can be able to use this particular, software in conducting their census in the near, time. So that is where we are right now as far as the enumeration of area demarcation is concerned. Almost all the commissioners, the national, chairman of the commission, Honorable Nasiru Isa Kwara, who is well positioned and who is well experienced, who is one of our own before, but now that he is our chairman, in fact, he's giving us all the go-ahead and he's giving us all the support to make sure that every commissioner is on ground to make sure that this assignment, is a hitch-free exercise. The only thing that we are having is in few states, we have some little boundary issues that we hope the governors and, of course, the local government and traditional institutions should try and see how those issues are going to be resolved so that it will be able to give us the opportunity to make sure that there is no home in Nigeria that will live undemarcated before the census. God willing, no home in Nigeria will be undemarcated before the census, since we are using a paperless, technology. So that is where we are right now, and we are hoping that everybody will give us the necessary cooperation to be able to carry out this exercise. That will be able to, at the end of the day, give us the figures or the data that Nigeria will use that will definitely stand the test of time. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir. That's my question. What level of cooperation have you experienced? Because your teams have done a lot of work trying to sensitize the public, visiting traditional rulers, schools, all kinds of areas in our community. So have the Nigerian people, bought into your mission? That's my first question. And secondly, taking a look at your website, I have to say I was quite dismayed. The last figures are from the 2016 census, Nigeria's population, and you now have further statistics. You click and you're redirected to Worldometer, a foreign, I think it's a US-based website, whose data has been called into question. This underscores the importance of having our own statistics.
Yeah, you see,
2006,
just like I have told you.
Sorry, go ahead, sir.
What I'm trying to say here is this. Okay, what I'm saying here is this. God willing, like I have told you, we are on top gear with a lot of activities and a lot of preparations in the commission. Most of us, we came in and we come to find out that there is a lot of work that needs to be done in the National Population Commission. Since it's going to be a data hub or a kind of a database, that a lot of other organizations will come and rely on to get their own information. So what we are doing right now is to make sure that every department in the commission, is working up to date. I am assuring you that the ICT department, that we are trying to, boost up and make sure that we put all our records straight, are working tirelessly. In the near, I think within the next 2-3 months, the ICT department is going to come up with a website that, of course, when you go in, all the statistics or all the data that you require, you will get it in it. We are trying to see what we can do with our national chairman, to see how the government will come into, giving us a lot of boost in a lot of areas, more especially funding. The commission in the past have not been, getting funding, the way it should do its own, constitutional responsibilities. So, but what we are doing with the way we have now come up, there are a lot of issues that we are seriously handling, and God willing, we would be able to, be on top of these particular issues. More especially when it comes to, the ICT aspect of it, putting our issues on website and the rest of them. There are a lot of auditing, there is a lot of editing, there are a lot of analysis, a lot of computations that need to be done, and we have to be very perfect before we go into putting it into the website, because once it goes to the website, it means the whole international community can't, go into it and see the record that we have there. We don't want to make any mistake of putting some records that are not actually, authenticated. What I'm trying to say here is we are working now with the enumeration of area demarcation to get everything right. By the time we get these things right and we are able to conduct a census in this country, all these figures that we are seeing here and there will definitely or automatically disappear to give us the correct figures that Nigeria will be working with. But I am assuring you that we are doing a lot of work, more especially on the website, to see how it will be able to at least stand the international community and anybody that want to go into, looking at what the National Population Commission, has on ground.
Okay.
So that is what we are working on right now. And with this intervention, we will go a long way, God willing.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I've got a myriad of questions. Number one, we're already behind schedule because censuses are supposed to be every 10 years. Since the first census we did in this country in 1911, it's supposed to be every 10 years. We had another one in 1921. We had one 2006. We're supposed to have a census in 2016, but we have not, and this is 2021. So we're 10 years off the mark. And secondly, I want to know what mechanism you will be using to get, this data. America had a census, I think, last year. The census is still on now. Last year. They had a census. And you saw how
it's last year. It's
last
2020.
year, 2020. And they had a census. And you saw how they got the data. People could fill up their census, their particular data at a portal, and they can get the enumeration on through that method. So are you going to be using technology to be able to get, the census data? Because there's technology now, so you don't need to come and count us as it used to be before, or get enumerators to come to the house and start filling out a sheet like they did in 2006, I remember very vividly. So are you going to use that technology? And secondly, how are you going to ensure the accuracy of the data? Because there's always dispute. I think even in the 2006 census, there was a dispute. I think it even went to court. Some people charged, Census Federal Population Commission to court as regards the data. So how are we going to say that it's authenticated data and it's not going to be politically biased?
Let me first of all, take you a little back from the questions that you asked. Of course, the mandate of the commission is to conduct, census and other, activities that are related to surveys, vital registration and the rest of them. That is the main mandate of the commission. But you see, the last census, like you have already mentioned, was conducted in 2006. By now, if we go by the United Nations, this base or benchmark, at least 10 years, is supposed to be, every country that conducts a census is supposed to be at least after 10 years. But you see, the legal framework or the constitution or the enabling law, in Nigeria, have a little thing that we are trying to see what, the commission and the Attorney General of the Federation, do, so that we can be able to quickly, contact the National Assembly to make an amendment, in the law. Because the law stipulates that, from time to time, the National Population Commission, will conduct, census or whatever. But, you see, it did not, peg it to that specific 10-year, plan. so that it can give the commission, the ability to make sure that they plan ahead of time. So if the commission, or the law is corrected or is well, reviewed, and give the commission the opportunity to conduct census every after 10 years, then that would be a very good, start, from what we are doing. Then secondly, you see, the latest technology we are using, which is a kind of a GIS technology, is a technology that is giving us no much questions, to be asked, because it is already, tried, tested by this, our enumeration of area demarcation. This exercise we are doing right now is very wonderful. I wish, we will have time where we'll display it, to the whole Nigerians to see what we are doing. And it will go a long way in making people or convince people that the National Population Commission is ready, by what we have to be able to conduct a census that cannot be disputed. You see, this world is going technologically, and we can't, be left behind, in this country. We have to also key in. So, and that is why we are deploying, the latest technology in trying to make sure that, the exercise that we are doing right now is well, taken care of. So that by the time the Master President gives us the go-ahead to conduct census, we can be able to say, yeah, it's good to go. But of course, there are a lot of reviews and pre-tests that we are going to conduct very soon, so that we can be able to get it right. Like you rightly mentioned, countries like America, America conducted the census, last year, that's 2020. And we will share, our own experiences, and we will also borrow, the leaf from other countries to see how, they are doing their work. But I'm telling you that the National Population Commission, with the crop of, commissioners that are on ground now, I'm telling you that, of course, there is a very big change, and Nigerians are going to appreciate it. In terms of publicity that we are saying, or in terms of the soliciting for support that we are actually talking about this, of course, it goes to the government, it goes to the communities, it goes to religious, traditional, and whoever in Nigeria that, everybody have a stake in making sure that at least we have, these figures that we are talking about, that the data that we are talking about, everybody has a stake. Let us all, embrace and give the National Population Commission support so that we can be able to be there. There are certain questions that, as far as Nigeria is concerned by now, we're supposed to at least leave them as issues that should not bother the country much. Let us see how we can be able to bring issues that will bring national development and issues that will bring national cohesion and understanding. More especially now that every figure, every aspect of the society, borders on how many are we. Because the government cannot be able to plan. You can't be able to get what you really want without you having the actual figures that you are working with. And that is why we want the country at this point in time, more especially with the kind of president we have on ground, to be able to have this go-ahead to conduct this census. The international community are waiting, and everybody is preparing to see how Nigeria will, approach this matter. And that is why we are also, pleading to all Nigerians to give us the support so that we can be able to see if we can be able to conduct this census by 2022, that is first quarter. That is our target, and God willing, we hope the government and Master President will give us the go-ahead so that we can be able to carry out this exercise. I am telling you that it's going to be a very wonderful exercise that every Nigerian will appreciate it, because most of the activities that we are going to do are going to be highly technological, of course, ICT, based. So thank you very much.
Well, Dr. Durunguwa, we will take a break in another minute, but before we go on that break, I would like to ask you the question so that you can have time to reflect on it. Yes, the first nationwide census in Nigeria was conducted in 1921. In 1931, the colonial authorities tried another census, but that was, frustrated by tax riots and locust invasion. In 1941, the census could not hold because of World War II. Now, by 1962, we had census. It was cancelled. In 1963, there was a reordered census, all the way to 2006, the last census conducted. What's the point I'm trying to make? Census in Nigeria has always been very tricky. What do you think are the challenges, and what is the guarantee that the next census that you say will come in 2022 would work? Second question, some people have been talking about population control. They say that before the next 30 years, population in Nigeria will be about 400 million. And in the face of revenue problem, infrastructure problem, and all kinds of problems, shouldn't Nigeria begin to talk about a population policy that can curb this population explosion that we're experiencing? You'll take those questions when we return from the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. It's The Morning Show. Welcome back to The Morning Show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Dr. Abdulmalik Durunguwa, Federal Commissioner with the National Population Commission and Chairman, Public Affairs Committee of the Commission. Dr. Durunguwa, thank you very much for staying with us. I'd asked you two questions before we went on break. One, the challenges that we face. Is it lack of political will or political interference or the fault lines of the Nigerian Union with regard to population census since 1911, 1921, all the way down to 2006? And then, of course, there was a second question about population control. Do you think that should be an important part of the conversation going forward?
Yeah, you see, as far as I am concerned, and as far as the Commission is concerned, most of the census that were conducted, of course, had each of the census or each of the particular, exercise that was conducted had its own, issues. But let me say one thing here, that you see, Nigerians generally have a kind of a mindset on issues. And it's high time we begin to look at things, from the positive perspective rather than looking at it, from negative, perspective. Nigeria have come of age. Nigeria at least is old enough to be able to look at issues and call a spade a spade. We have been battling with a lot of developmental issues in this country because of the wrong figures or because of misunderstandings here and there that, of course, is not going to help us, reach anywhere. It is high time we begin to look at ourselves as Nigerians rather than looking at ourselves as people who come from a particular section or a particular tribe or ethnicity or religion. Honestly speaking, I think we should be able to get it right this time around. That all Nigerians, irrespective of who you are, let us begin to see, what do we actually do to leave a legacy for children that are yet unborn to stand and build on, to be able to move as one entity, as people who have a common, things that they need to work together to put this country in place. And one of these things, to be very honest, is the population figures or the population that we have in this country. Of course, by whatever reason, every area or every place in this country or every human being in this country has a way he has developed up to this particular moment that we are in. And there are certain things that you can't change. They are natural, and they ought to be the way they are. But for God's sake, if we are able to use the appropriate technology and use the appropriate tools and parameters that are supposed to be used, and we are able to come up with a particular figure, I am, of course, pleading to all Nigerians to always, be people who appreciate what other Nigerians are doing, putting their this thing on stake to make sure that this particular success is generated. If you know the kind of turbulent and if you know the kind of rough and areas that a lot of demarcators right now are going in Nigeria, in fact, the areas and the topography, there are areas that are very hard to reach in Nigeria. You come to find that somebody will leave his home, a demarcator will leave his home from 6 o'clock in the morning up to around 7 in the evening, moving from one household to the other to make sure that every home in Nigeria is captured in this demarcation so that we can be able to have a figure that will stand the test of time during the census so that we leave no home, uncounted. But somebody will just wake up from nowhere due to his own personal thinking, or he just wake up with a kind of a mindset and begin to rubbish the whole exercise that is done and people that, have suffered to bring on board. So these are areas that I am pleading that Nigerians, as of now, we should begin to look at things that will help us grow and be people that can be able to at least look at what we have at hand and plan our things according to what we have and, of course, according to the areas that these things are. So, to be very candid and to be very honest, we have gone beyond that in the National Population Commission. The National Population Commission has commissioners from every state of the Federation. And to be very honest with you, we have wonderful individuals with high experience. We have people who have worked in every aspect of this country, and some of them have gone beyond the country to international levels. And we are back. We are about to give this country things, or a kind of, we are about to work and bring up something in this country that is going to help everybody. Nobody is talking about political issues, talking about ethnicity or any sentimental matter in the commission right now. All the commissioners, we have already put our head together and we are trying to see whatever that we are able to come up. To be very honest, I will not vote, but I will say that there is no Nigerian that will be able to come and say he wants to challenge the commission, that the figure that we are giving you are this and that.
Well, thank
different
you, sir.
of sentiment.
Well,
what we are doing
sir.
is to make.
Should we ask the question about population control?
So, the population control we are talking about, you see, there are a lot of factors that are, are affecting or are kind of impeding the issue of population control in this country. We have so many issues that, of course, the government need to sit down, when we give them, some kind of indices, they need to sit down and take decisive positions on issues. Because up till now, we are actually working tirelessly. We have sent, the population policy, and any moment from now, I'm sure, Mr. President and, of course, the country is going to look at it critically and give us the go-ahead to implement the things that we have proposed, to the country in regard to population policy. Because once the population policy is not well fine-tuned, is not well, prepared, it will be difficult for us to come out and tell anybody that this is that, this is that. But the most important thing here is this. We don't need to be told that our population is seriously expanding. We don't need anybody to come and remind us of our responsibilities. If you are a father or if you are somebody who actually have a particular number of children that you cannot be able to take responsibility on, of course, you need to think twice. We have to come up with issues that will help us have productive, human beings in Nigeria, rather than, going the quantity way. Going the quantity way will not actually help us. Let us see, how do we bring in Nigerians? That is, how do we have in people that come into this country by birth or by whatever way, as people who are going to be very productive, who can be able to help this country to move forward. So this is the aspect that we need to work about. Some of our religious and, of course, cultural, organizations need, to redress or address some issues that will be able to make people begin to know that, look, if I'm able to have so and so number of children, it could be able to help me, plan my own activities and, of course, achieve this. Look at what is going on in this country now. Because of a lot of factors, that have been left unattended to, there are a lot of, social vices that are going on in the country. You look at a lot of youth roaming the street here and there, which, of course, we need to look at what are actually the issues, and we need to look at them holistically and know how to address it. All these issues of insecurity, all this issue of, hoodlums, moving here and there, we need to actually get this policy, on ground, and we are actually working tirelessly. We have submitted, the proposal to Mr. President, and I'm sure any moment from now, we'll be able to come up with a policy in this country that will be able to guide, our population and, of course, know, the indices to use to be able to come up with some things. Because the rate at which our population actually is growing, is very alarming, and the resources, are not there. And, of course, human resource is very good, but, of course, it has to be tailored toward, production and making sure that, everybody, have something doing. So as far as I'm concerned, or as far as the commission is concerned, we are working tirelessly on this aspect. Just as I have told you, we're a crop of new commissioners in the commission, And we are working tirelessly to see how we bring some things, to put them in order so that we can be able to help, shape this country.
Dr. Durunguwa, we'll take a quick commercial break and then we'll come back to you and the conversation will continue. Please stay with us. The Morning Show. We'll be right back. Back to the Morning Show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Dr. Abdulmalik Mohammed Durunguwa, Federal Commissioner with the National Population Commission and also Chairman Public Affairs Committee of that National Population Commission of Nigeria. Dr. Durunguwa, thank you for staying with us. Well, Tundu.
So I have,
question.
yes. Well,
Thank you.
I have first a comment about your previous response, Doctor. This is the beauty of you appearing on the show this morning, and we're glad you're here. But what you are asking of Nigerians is a suspension of cynicism that will be hard to achieve. You'll recall the comments of the former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, who said that I almost said 2016 again, the 2006 census, that the numbers came up to around 200 million, but the powers that be sat and decided to reduce it to 140 million. So my first question is that will we have credible local monitors and also international monitors to really ensure that Nigerians don't feel that they've been presented implausible figures yet again? And I have a question from a viewer, and he says to ask you, what is the difference between the NPC and NIMC and why both agencies exist side by side? He thinks NIMC's approach is scientific, whereas your approach is manual. Shouldn't NPC be a division within NIMC? What's your response to that question, sir?
Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, the National Population Commission has its own mandate and is a constitutional body, and it is saddled with a responsibility. And of course, we are doing our job and very well, so far. The NIMC is another organization, but there are areas, of course, where, there should be, collaboration. The National Population Commission's responsibility have the fundamental data that the NIMC is supposed to use, which is, the birth, certificate of every child. The first identity of every Nigerian is when he come into Nigeria by birth. Of course, he's supposed to have a name, a birth certificate. And the only organization that gives that birth certificate is the National Population Commission. The NIMC do not supposed to register any child, without having that particular birth, certificate from the National Population Commission, because we should be able to authenticate whether the child is a Nigerian or he is just born in Nigeria or whatever, the situation should be. So these are two separate areas. And as far as we are concerned, we have also, gone a long way to digitalize, our birth registration. We have launched it and we are about to implement it. But because of the current exercise we are conducting nationwide in preparation to this census that all of us are yearning for, the enumeration of area demarcation, almost all our attention, of course, is diverted to that, to make sure that we cover this country before the end of July, and which is a very Herculean task that we have been, saddled with, and we are doing it responsibly. So our own exercise, as I am telling you, we have developed our own in-house software that, of course, can stand the test of time. And even the international organizations of countries are trying to come and, see how they can be able to, collaborate with us so that they can be able to obtain this particular, software, which is Nigerian developed, that is made in Nigeria. That I can be proud of from the Commission itself. So as far as I'm concerned, we are really doing a lot of things to reposition the National Population Commission to respond, to its constitutional mandate. And of course, we are doing that, judiciously and without actually leaving any stone, unturned. As far as we are concerned in the Commission, we don't have any issue, as of now, that is making us feel that what we are doing is not going to stand the test of time, because we are deploying, real technology, geosatellite technology, to make sure that we have geometric imageries of every area in the country that is to put in place before we finish this particular year. So let Nigerians give us time and, of course, be patient, and also, trust us. We will be able to give you what, God willing, will stand the test of time. Which, if you even have any doubt, come to our Commission. Go to any of the countries. We are going to start the next phase of the enumeration of area demarcation, on the 25th of this month. Go to any state, wherever you find out that or you hear that we are doing our enumeration of area demarcation. Go your own self and verify and see on ground what we are doing. You will really appreciate it. And of course, you will know that Nigeria is really moving somewhere. Okay. With this, I am telling you, Nigeria will shift from the era.
Okay, so I imagine the technology you're using is a lot of geo-mapping, geo-imaging, heat sensor, density articulation technology to be able to, get the density of people in a certain area because of geo-mapping. But for me, the problem, like Tunu raised a very, very important question, is the fact that we have too many data sets in this country. And I'll point it out to you. INEC has got a data set. They've got over 80 million people that are registered as voters in the voter registration exercise. That's one data set. Nobody has talked about harmonizing that data. Only God knows where that data is stored as it is. I'm sure it's one server, INEC server. BVN has got another data set. God knows how many millions of people they registered that have bank accounts in the country. We've got NIMC data sets. That's another data set. Then population sensor data sets. I'm sure you have the antecedent data of the population census you did in 2006. I don't know where that data is stored because most of the enumeration devices were manual. I don't know, maybe they've been imputed and kept in a cloud platform. Why can't we just enumerate all these 5 or 6 data sets? Immigration data set, yeah, because we get a foreign passport, Nigerian passport every time we go to immigration. That's another data set they keep. Why can't we just print together all these data points, tie together neatly, then use the geo-mapping technology, then make projections, and to be able to wrap up the rest? And so we can define the work done and say, okay, it's more rural areas we want to tackle. Because too many data sets is a big problem in this country.
You see, that is what I am saying. One of the aspects or one of the area that NIMC is supposed to concentrate on is this harmonization of this particular data. There are a lot of organizations in Nigeria that generate data. What NIMC is supposed to concentrate on is to harmonize this particular data and make sure that, look, this data from this organization, this data from this organization is harmonized and is synchronized to give so and so data. But you see, just like I am saying, NIMC is a body that is also doing its best to make sure that it lives with its own mandate. But of course, they need to catch up with other organizations and have a lot of synergy and collaboration so that they can be able to get the work done well. The National Population Commission will not go and start harmonizing data because that is not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to get primary data. And this primary data is residence in us, is stored with us. If there is any other organization in this country that has been given the mandate to harmonize data from other organizations, of course, we are ready to collaborate with that particular organization and give them the data we have as of what, of course, on ground. But we cannot go to say we want to do the job of another organization that is there doing their own job. But I am telling you right now that we are doing our best at the National Population Commission to make sure that all these little issues that we are, let it be bygone. Let us draw a line and have a point where we take off with a perfect data that you can use. And that is what we are doing right now. Okay. I am telling you that with the latest data that we are, yeah.
Dr. Durunguwa, a quick rebuttal. Where did you store the 2006 primary census data? Because that data involved things like your family history and some other questions. How many spouses do you have, children you have that the enumerators got? Where is that data resident now?
Most of those, this data is resident with the National Population Commission, of course. We have a data bank.
Okay.
But, we don't just give you information. We don't just give you data. When you come officially and looking for this data, of course, we'll provide it for you. But what I want you to know is that by the time that census was conducted in 2006, that Lou have rightly mentioned, of course, it was conducted using paper and a kind of an analog system. But right now, we are trying to migrate. In fact, all the work we are doing now, there is no paper that is involved. We use personal handheld devices and personal, handheld PDAs, to use and work conveniently without using any paper. And those type of record, we automatically store it, on cloud, and we have our own storage, we have our own servers or whatever that we can be able to say that, look, whatever data we have right now, we know, it use and we know it value. And we cannot make a mistake of having it corrupted or by whatever means. So what we are actually pleading to Nigerians is to give us this particular, have confidence in the National Population Commission. That is one. Number two, give us all the necessary assistance. Give us all the necessary, backup. And of course, to be able to drive this process to its success. By the time we get this success, everybody in Nigeria will clap his hands and say, yes, now we have something that we can work with. But if we are not able to put our head together to understand and agree with ourselves, we may end up just rocking on the boat unnecessarily. But I am telling you that all the data that we are gathering now, there is nobody. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of states that we have a lot of, issues. People don't believe in it. But when we started this EAD, a lot of people, were shocked. I challenge people to say, look, if we go to a particular local government area, I challenge the local government administration and the traditional leader and every youth organization that if there is any house that is not demarcated, call us, we are coming back to demarcate that particular house. We want to make sure that every home, no matter where the house is, as far as it's in Nigerian, territory, we will demarcate it, irrespective of the insecurity that is going on. For your information, we have gone to the extent, our national chairman, have gone to the extent of meeting with most of the security agencies to make sure that the areas that have security issues, we take a special way and special collaboration with the military and, of course, other law enforcement agencies to see how these areas will be demarcated. Because if these areas are not demarcated, it's going to be difficult for you to conduct census in such areas because the EAD is paramount, is the foundation of the census. So that's why we are putting all our head on this EAD. We don't want anything to divert our attention right now on this enumeration of area demarcation. We want to get it right. We don't want to get it wrong. So anybody that have any challenge or any question, as far as the commission is concerned now, come and meet us. Bring any issue that can be able to help us, to move forward. We are ready to, of course, listen to you, take your own advices where we can take, also advise you where we feel what you are bringing to us is not, up to date.
Dr. Durunguwa, well, before we wrap this up or go on a break, there's something I need you to clarify for me. And this is in relation to a statement you made earlier about national population policy. You said, there are plans to come up with a national population policy. And that, caught my attention because about 20 years ago, I was a resource person for an NGO called National Council on Population and Environmental Activities, NCPEA, led by Prince Julius Adelusi Adeluyi, pharmacist, lawyer, statesman. And at that time, we were talking about population policy in Nigeria. We were talking about climate change. Are you telling me, please, we need to know, are you saying that Nigeria does not have a population policy, a national population policy, 2 decades after? Briefly, Doctor.
You see, just like I have told you, of course, there is a national population policy, but we have reviewed it to a very remarkable standard that right now, I am telling you, we have forwarded it to the to Mr. President, of course, for them to look at it critically and come up with a statement that we can be able to say, look, this is not, but actually from the National Population Commission and a lot of international organizations, we have sat down, we have worked tirelessly. In fact, up to the end of last year to the beginning of this year, we have finally fine-tuned the national population policy. And I am assuring you that any moment from now, Nigerians will get at least an updated, up-to-date national population policy that, of course, like I always say, that will stand the test of time. A lot of factors have been considered, a lot of things have been looked into considerably, and in fact, looking at the state of Nigeria right now, the national policy have been updated. Just give us little patience, and Nigeria will get what we want. In fact, we will actually keep on, pushing the government to make sure that any moment, at least from now, this particular policy should be made known to every Nigerian so that people will be able to,
Thank you,
plan according
Dr.
to the policy that we have on ground.
It's good to hear that the national population policy is being updated, is being reviewed, because in 2004, I thought I remembered that there was a national population policy that we all worked on. But unfortunately, nobody has been able to implement it for religious and ethnic reasons. Thank you very much, Dr. Durunguwa, for joining us on The Morning Show. Thank you.